You wake up, but not like humans do. You're born, scrambled, tangled in your mother's fur, feeling the warmth of her body, but also the cold bite of reality. The den is cramped, a dark, damp space, littered with the scent of stale food and the soft rustle of your siblings, fighting for warmth, for space. You're blind, helpless. You can barely move, but you hear it, the low growl of hunger. Your mother hasn't eaten in days. Yet, there she is, nursing you, keeping you alive with the last of her strength. Life is simple for now. You suckle, you squeak, you sleep. The outside world is a distant dream, but that dream is dangerous. It would swallow you whole if it had the chance. Weeks pass. The den starts to feel smaller, suffocating. The walls press in as if the very earth itself is closing in on you. And then, one day, your mother rises, her claws scraping at the earth. The light floods in, blinding. You blink, startled by the brightness. The world outside is massive. The scent of decay, fresh food, and predators fills your nostrils. And you realize just how small, how fragile you are. There's no time to process it. You stumble behind your mother, running for your life. Your fur is slick with fear, and your stomach churns with hunger. You're not safe here, not by a long shot. Every rustling leaf, every shifting shadow, could be your end. She teaches you fast. She doesn't care if you're scared. She doesn't care if you're weak. Every day you learn something new. How to squeeze through cracks, how to dash across the floor without being seen, how to make the world work for you, how to survive. You begin to understand the world isn't kind. The alleyways are filled with predators. Cats that prowl in the dark, owls that swoop silently from the skies, the snap of traps set to catch the weak. You're small, you're fast, and you're hungry, always hungry. But you're learning. The instinct to survive is inside you, growing stronger with every narrow escape, every close call. But survival isn't guaranteed. One day, you're foraging near the trash heap, gnawing on a scrap of cheese, when a shadow falls over you. You freeze. There's a cat, bigger, faster, sharper. Its eyes gleam in the dim light, its claws flexing. You don't hesitate. You dart, heart pounding in your tiny chest. You barely make it into the hole before those claws could tear into your flesh. You hear the cat's growl, the scratching of paws. You shiver, realizing just how close you were to becoming lunch. But you're alive, just for today. The world outside doesn't stop. It doesn't wait for you to catch your breath. It moves with a rhythm you can't control. Fast, unpredictable, and brutal. But you learn to keep up. You learn that every meal, every moment of peace, is a gift. And it comes at a price. The first time you see another rat, older than you, taking its place in the food chain, you feel it, the twinge of competition. You see how it moves, how it slinks through the shadows with practiced ease. You know you could be that rat someday. But first, you have to survive. You have to prove you're stronger, faster, smarter. Your first kill, a pigeon you managed to ambush, tastes like victory but also desperation. It's messy. It's brutal. It's not the clean, easy meal you've seen others enjoy. But it's yours. You feel yourself growing, becoming something more. You're no longer the helpless baby born in the dark. You're a survivor. You've earned your place in the city, where scraps of food, or even a whole meal, are up for grabs if you're brave enough to take it. The city is a jungle and you're learning the rules. But then, one day it happens. You see it. A larger rat, one with eyes full of hunger, teeth sharper than your own. It's time to face the truth. The world's not kind to the weak. It doesn't care about your struggles. It only cares about who gets to eat and who gets eaten. You fight back. It's a brutal, desperate struggle. Teeth gnashing, claws raking. But in the end, you make it. The city might have swallowed hundreds of rats. But today, it's not you. Today, you win. And so, the cycle continues. You grow. You fight. You survive. But you can never forget the truth of it all. In the end, the world doesn't care about you. It's not about being the biggest or the strongest. It's about who refuses to back down, who refuses to die. Years pass and the city starts to feel smaller, more familiar. The alleyways, the rooftops, the corners you once feared are now your domain. You've learned to move through the shadows like a ghost, unseen, untouchable. The predators that once threatened you, they've learned to avoid you. You've become a force to be reckoned with. But then, you notice it, the younger rats, the ones that don't know the streets like you do. They're bold. They test their limits. They don't know the dangers you've learned so painfully. And sometimes they try to challenge you. One afternoon, while scavenging near an old dumpster, a young rat approaches you, eyes glinting with ambition. It's smaller, weaker, but there's defiance in its stance. For a moment, you stare at each other, sizing each other up. You see the hunger in its eyes, the same hunger you once had. It's a reminder of who you used to be. Takes a moment for you to decide. You don't fight. You don't need to. The young rat runs. And as you tear into the food it left behind, you realize something. You've become the rat you used to run from. The city doesn't challenge you anymore. It knows better. It respects you, or at least it knows that crossing your path is a bad idea. But as time passes, you feel it, the cracks. The moments when your body doesn't move as quickly, when your reflexes aren't as sharp. The younger rats are getting bolder, testing you more often, and while you still win, the victories don't feel the same. One day, after a particularly hard fight, you catch yourself retreating. Instead of standing your ground, you pull back, sensing that the world is beginning to shift. You're not as fast as you used to be. You're not as untouchable. The city is unforgiving, and it's waiting for the next ruler to rise. The young rats, the predators, the traps, they're all part of the world you helped create. The struggle never ends. It never stops. But for now, you remain. You've fought, hunted, and ruled for longer than most. And while the city doesn't mourn its old kings, it doesn't forget them either. It waits for the next challenger. And you'll keep fighting as long as you can. Because in the end, it's not about winning, it's about surviving. The city is ruthless, and so are you.